like 4-1. Who wouldn't be upset at 4-1? Well, Iowa fans are. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on everything college football, pro football, Madden, EA college football, NFL draft, anything related to American football, hit that red subscribe button. You'll not be disappointed. Also hit the like button too, and follow on Twitter/X. That fam is growing. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, I have a game to go over now because we've got a team I usually like to talk about right now, the Iowa Hawkeyes. I know you're thinking, Iowa Hawkeyes, what are you talking about? Just stick with me here because this is one of the more interesting teams going forward in college football. I think that they don't know about it right now, but they're at a crossroads for what they want to do and where they want to go. The fan base notices it. Everybody notices it. And they're even noticing it after this. So this last weekend, the Iowa Hawkeyes hosted the Michigan State Spartans. They were to win that game, 26-16. And again, you saw the fact that Cade McNamara, 3 for 5. Deacon Hill got in the game a little bit there, but they 27 carries for 61 yards rushing, 2.3 yards per carry. They gave up 5 yards a clip at 32 carries, but forced 3 interceptions from Noah Kim, including 1 punt return at the end of the game by Cooper DeJean, the do-it-all safety for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So you're thinking about this, right? You're like 4-1. Who wouldn't be upset at 4-1? Well, Iowa fans are. On athlonsports.com, we see that Jack Springgate's article says fans calling for coaches firing following Saturday night's win. The clock was ticking on Iowa offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz after yet another close win. This time, the Iowa Hawkeyes outlasted the Michigan State Spartans at home, but they needed a special teams touchdown to win it. The punt return touchdown by Cooper DeJean. While some fans are happy with the win, most Iowa supporters know something has to change on offense if they want to be seen as a serious contender this year and going forward. And I want to make sure I especially highlight that and going forward because there's a couple of things happening in the Big Ten, as most of you through conference realignment know, they're going to be affecting Iowa's ability to do that. Ferentz, the son of Coach Kirk Ferentz, is already on a short leash with the contract amendment to average 25 points a game and win 7 games this season to earn a contract extension. While many Iowa fans would like to see his time running the offense come to an end before this season does. So come to hear the Sickos community that says Iowa scores 26 and wins against Michigan State. This puts Brian at 111 points for the season, behind the 125 where he should be at, but that's better than 0. Congrats, Hawkeyes. Remember here, that's what he has. He has that escalator there where if he gets to 325 combined points for the season, he gets an extension. However, he's still having some trouble doing that for the most part. One commenter here said, final, Iowa 26, Michigan State 16. Booze replaced by Coop. Iowa improves to 4-1, 1-1. Purdue up next. 3-word headlines, ? And this person tweeted out, fire Brian Ferentz. And one of the things to remember about the Iowa offense, and I don't know if it's just because of Brian Ferentz, but it just seems like for the last couple of years, they just have had issues with moving the ball down the field. As a matter of fact, so there's a video of Kirk Ferentz, and I don't know, this meme right here is awesome, but it says, change our minds. Wide receivers are just fast blockers, mentioning the fact that Iowa just has such a hard time throwing the football down the field. And again, it's only going to get harder because their big transfer they got from Michigan, he's out. So Cade McNamara, who helped Michigan go against Georgia in 2021 for that season, he was the starting quarterback, and then JJ McCarthy was coming off the bench, kind of like as the scat quarterback. Well, unfortunately, he last year sat the bench most of the year. This year, he decided to transfer to Iowa, but he has torn his ACL. So the guy that thought he was going to save the offense is now also here. He torn it in his left knee. He says it's not good, not positive. I was suspicious of that the other night. He's got an ACL injury, so that's going to have to get repaired. He'll be out for the season. Stay with the team, be supportive, and continue to be part of the team. Again, he completed 3 of 5 passes for 46 yards before leaving. He couldn't put any weight on his leg, and he had hoped he had to be helped off the field and eventually was replaced by sophomore Deacon Hill. And again, so you saw here that Hill, transferred from Wisconsin after last season, had 11 of 27 passing for 115 yards with a touchdown and a pick against the Spartans. It doesn't sound very good, but remember here, Michigan State's quarterback had 3 interceptions, and they gave up a punt return for a touchdown here. So, again, the passing offense, the wide receivers aren't happy, the quarterbacks are injured, the offensive coordinator is coming under fire. What are they going to do? I think it's always important, and I always, if you watch my videos regularly, you'll see the fact that I always like to look back to see where things are going forward. So for Iowa, it's really crazy when you check this out. They have had two coaches since 1975. It's 1979, excuse me. So 1979, Hayden Fry took over, and then Kirk Ferentz took over in 1999, and he has been there ever since. So if you think about this, the only other team that can really say this is like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have had, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and then Mike Tomlin for like the last 60 years. You see this here for them. This is truly astonishing amount of, cohesion in terms of head coaching. But the problem with that, though, is that you can eventually get to the point to where your weaknesses are expanded upon. For one thing, we know that Bill Belichick is a terrible scouter of wide receivers. He just does not know what he's looking for. He's never been very good at it. The only one that was ever really good that he's had was Jacoby Myers, and he was a free agent that just went to the Raiders. You could argue Julian Edelman, who was a punt returner for the first couple of years. It just seems like he just has a hole there. Kirk Ferentz has never really been a super explosive offense. They might have had a couple years here when they had a guy here, guy there, or whatever. But unfortunately, Kirk Ferentz and now Brian Ferentz, his son, again, nepotism, thinking about the fact that, they have that cohesion there. They have just not been able to be the offensive team they wanted to be. If you come out here and check out some of these records, though, I mean, 10-4, 10-3, 12-2, 11-2, 10-2, 10-3, 11-2. You see down here with Hayden Fry, 10-1-1, 10-3, 10-2, 10-3. They've been able to win a lot of games. I do think that I do get a Bo Pelini at Nebraska feeling here, where they're always going to be pretty good, but they're going to have a hard time getting to that next level. And thinking in the Big Ten, one of the biggest conferences in the country, man, I think that Iowa is one of those programs where they're going to be competitive for a long time. They've got consistency. I guarantee you Kirk Ferentz has a great relationship with the boosters. He's got a lot of things going for him. But I do also know that in order to be special, in order to beat those Ohio States, the Michigans, you're never really going to be able to out-recruit them. And now you've got USC, Oregon, and Washington coming in. It's going to get more and more difficult. You have to find ways to separate themselves. I have been pounding the table for this guy, and I know that Kirk Ferentz is a good head coach, but I've been pounding the table for this guy to bring him in here because he's a unique type of person to bring in, unique offense, this and that, the way you can separate yourself to compete with those Ohio States and Michigans going forward. And that's my boy, Dave Clawson. I've been a huge fan of Dave Clawson. I know that for the most part, he's been a Northeast kind of guy. If you come over here and check where he's been Villanova, Lehigh, Buffalo, Albany. He went to Tennessee for a little bit there, and then Bowling Green and then Wake Forest. So he's not really an Iowa kind of guy, but I do know that, again, the slow mesh offense, that's an example. I'm not saying you have to hire Dave Clawson, but what I'm trying to say is find some way to have a unique offering for your team in order to push you over the edge to be able to compete against the Alabamas, the Michigans, the Ohio States, and so on. Dave Clawson, I think, can help you out with that. Remember with Nebraska, when they won national championships in the 90s, not 80 years ago, in the 90s, they did that because, they had a really good coaching staff, really good weight training program. That was how they kind of separated themselves. You have to find your way to separate yourself right now. And unfortunately, your only plan right now is roll out a guy who looks like he should be working for Barstool Sports. So out goes Cade McNamara and steps in your boy Deacon Hill. So Deacon Hill, if you look at him here, not only does he just have the generic look, remember here he transferred over from Wisconsin, he's just got the general look. Does he not look like he belongs on Pardon My Take or something like that? He just like 6'3", 258. I mean, he looks like, if this picture right here is perfect because he looks literally with the colors and just the generic outlook, he looks like Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his career. So that's the quarterback that's going to be stepping in. Is he going to save the team? I don't know. But I do know that in addition to a lot of Iowa fans out there, know that this offense needs to be addressed. Now, realistically, and this is a crazy thing to say here, I feel like 2023 is the last time that the Iowa Hawkeyes have a chance to win the Big Ten if Brian and Kirk Ferentz are running the show. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at this here, so the rest of their schedule is not too bad. Home against Purdue, at Wisconsin. We'll see how that goes. Home against Minnesota. We've got a neutral site game against Northwestern. We've got Rutgers at home, Illinois at home, and at Nebraska here. So Nebraska, unfortunately, has fallen off a little bit there. Again, new head coach, kind of figuring out their way. Northwestern's got a new head coach. So I think the fact they could realistically, looking at this schedule, they could end up 10-2, 9-3, something like that, and playing in the Big Ten championship, probably against Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State or something like that. Now, again, they already lost to Penn State, but it'll be a neutral site game. But again, my point behind that being is that I feel like they have a better chance of winning the Big Ten now. Because, again, all you got to do is get to that game, and then you muck it up. You get a punt return for touchdown with your boy Cooper DeJean, something like that. You have some turnovers, and you eventually win the Big Ten that way. Because next season, you got to remember here, it's not going to look the same. So checking this out right here, you can see the fact that the Iowa Hawkeyes are 1-1, but again, their loss was to Penn State, who's pretty solid. But again, the rest of their games here, the only other team they play from the eastern side of the conference is Rutgers, but then they play Wisconsin, Minnesota, Purdue, Northwestern, Illinois, and Nebraska. So all you got to do is win that side, because I remember here, remember what I said? I said that they have a chance this year, but they don't have a chance in the future. And the reason why is because if they expect to Kirk and Brian Ferentz people to death in the future, when you have to mix with the Big Ten East, which means you have to play Penn State more, Michigan more, Ohio State more, undefeated Maryland more, don't forget about them, play all those teams more, in addition to now having to play USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. I think that there was a nice little ecosystem here for Iowa football. You know what? We're going to go 8-4. We're going to go 9-3. We're going to go 10-2. We'll see how it goes. Maybe go 7-5, but we'll be right around the same spot. We know that Kirk Ferentz does a good job. We're always going to be decent at football. But national championships aren't going to be a thing for you guys. I know the last one you guys won was 1958, but I'm telling you, if you want to get to that level, you have to find a way. You're in the toughest league. You're in the most expensive league in terms of media payout in the world. But are you able to compete at that level? Because remember here, okay, you don't play Michigan or Ohio State this season. You don't play Maryland this season. But going forward, you're going to play all those teams more, in addition to those LA teams and the Northwest teams. You need to find a way to separate yourselves. Otherwise, you're just going to be another Big Ten team. I'm not the only one who notices the fact that Brian Ferentz and his score escalator that he has to hit, they've just been having issues getting the ball in the end zone. But I think the bigger thing about this is they've actually got a realistic shot to get to the Big Ten championship this season because they're in the Big Ten West. However, in 2024, when they merge with the Big Ten East, add all those West Coast teams who are coming in, Iowa's just going to be another team if they don't find a way to separate themselves. I think they should do it. A unique hire, a creative offense, something that actually gets the receivers the ball, something like that. Iowa needs to find a way because they're fantastic at defense. Whatever they're doing on the defensive backside of the field, whatever they're doing on offensive line, they should keep that. Same with tight ends. Add some receivers, maybe get a dynamic quarterback, something like that. You should be good for that. But again, Kirk Ferentz is consistent. We'll see what he does. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Get in the comments and let me know. Do you think Iowa is ever going to change? How long do you think Kirk Ferentz stays for? What happens when they merge with the other side of the conference? You guys get in the comments and let me know. But that's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.